Hey, Peter, that says fishy jerks, in case you weren't aware of it.
Yeah, I heard it. Yeah.
Well, so a lot of people can't tell what I'm saying. That's actually me singing. That's me.
Oh, my goodness.
Hey, everybody. We've got Peter from Mobb Guppy with us tonight. Peter's got a great channel. He does live streams, Monday night at 6 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right?
7 Eastern,
7
Eastern, 4 Pacific.
Okay. And then you also do a Sunday stream, right?
Saturday.
Geez. I watch them all. I'm there.
Eastern, 10 Pacific.
Gotcha. I'm almost always there, but I forget days. You know, when you get old,
Okay.
you know how it is. Okay.
One
So
day I'll be as old as you.
hopefully, it happens to everybody. If they're lucky.
I know.
If they're lucky. All right. For people that haven't been here before, the whole first half hour, we're not even going to look at the chat. It's just going to be Peter and I talking. We're gonna dig into Peter. We're gonna learn about him and about not so much even the fish hobby side of Peter, but just different jobs that he's had and places he's lived and things like that. I know he's moved around a lot for different work that related things, and I know he's had a very interesting life so far. So. It's going to be fun. So we don't really recognize the chat at all. You guys, chat amongst yourself. The whole second half, we'll bring it up and have people ask questions for Peter. So I do see quite a few people in, though. They're all here to see you, Peter. And Peter. So Peter's got a great channel. Like I said, a lot of good knowledge, specifically guppies. You do other stuff too, but guppies.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of the fish fam doesn't really know you too well, even though you're out there and you've been out there for a while. So I think this will be good to introduce you to some of the new people in the fish fam and get some more eyes on you. So let's see. You currently live in Kansas. Joplin, Missouri.
Joplin, Missouri. Close to Kansas. I'm 10 minutes away.
Oh, I'm now 0 for 3. I saw Alishon in here and he said 0 for 2. Well, now I'm 0 for 3. Joplin, Missouri. That's right. And how long have you lived there now?
A little over 2 years.
Okay. Where was right before there?
Little Rock.
Okay. You want to give us
San Antonio? San Antonio before that.
Everybody have their bingo cards?
San Francisco. Greenville, South Carolina. Went to work for a company in San Francisco in 2006, and they transferred me from San Francisco to New York in 9 months.
They must have liked what you were doing. Liked it so much they wanted you clear across the country.
Yeah. Let me just tell you, Huntsville, Alabama, Minneapolis, Minnesota, Sacramento, California. My life has been good in the witness protection, system as I continue to live under the radar as a friendly fish slinger.
Gotcha. And maybe that's where the mob part comes to. Huh?
Yes. I got it mainly because I'm kind of a hip hop fan. And Mobb Deep.
I don't know who that is.
Oh, well, you need to familiarize yourself with OG hip hop.
So I've tried, and it's just not for me. I've tried a lot of different ones. I've had tons of friends. I've asked, hey, I don't care for it. Show me something. Make me like it. And I just...
Yeah, it's, right now, I don't quite get the mumble rappers.
Mm.
It's there's a whole genre now of rappers who just sort of mumble.
Yeah,
and I prefer either the guys who are funny or the guys who are yelling with anger. That's where I come down.
Gotcha.
The mumble rappers, not so much.
I think I don't like it so much as I don't like poetry either. I know that's weird. I love music. I love lyrics. I love to hear people singing.
Yeah, nobody likes poetry, though. If you write it, name me a best-selling poetry book written in the last 5 years.
Well, that's what rap sort of is, right? I mean, it's poetry.
They say Bob Dylan's a much better poet than he is a musician.
Yeah. He's definitely a good writer.
Yeah, he's definitely an amazing writer.
Yeah.
It's I think we as humans have been desensitized to all sorts of stuff going on in the world.
Sure.
We have so many things in front of us at all times. We have sound, we have pictures, we have how many people are like me, have the computer on, the TV on at the same time, or the computer on, or my streaming service listening to my likes.
Yeah.
I do it, constantly.
Yeah, I get you. So we're inundated with stuff, especially advertising. It's everywhere. It's in your face.
Well, and not just advertising, but messages. We are overrun. One of the great things about the internet is that sort of democratized everything, made everything go out. One of the bad things about the internet is that you really need to have discernment, and you have to don't take anything on face value.
Sure. Yes, very much so. Yeah, just because it's on the internet, don't believe it. Yes.
It's there's a lot of, if you talk to people in the medical profession.
Oh, yeah.
And people walk in because they've read WebMD and they diagnosed themselves on something. I used to work with a guy who was a huge hypochondriac, and he was convinced one of his daughters had some illness. He doctor shopped until someone gave the diagnosis that he wanted. And then about 6 months later, they go, yeah, she doesn't have that. She has lupus. And I said to him, you moron. I said, look for the doctors. Get a second opinion. But if you have two doctors with the same opinion, there's probably a fighting chance they may be right.
Yeah. And especially today, a lot of people don't trust their doctors. They trust people on the internet more, and that's unfortunate because, yes, there's some doctors out there that aren't on the up and up, and there are some things that are happening. But overall, the medical community is trustworthy and are people that we should be listeing to.
Yeah, are there quacks? Yes.
Sure.
But the vast majority of them are really, really good.
Yeah.
We should trust them. It's trust them to help you make best decisions for you. But it's sort of like that with fish information, because it's you can read all the books.
Yeah.
You can look at channels on YouTube. You can join fish clubs. And I highly recommend joining fish clubs. I'm an IFGA member, and I have learned lots of stuff from there. But I will tell you, you don't really learn until you fail at it yourself.
Yes.
And all of a sudden you sit there and go, huh.
Oh.
That makes almost no sense, but okay.
Yeah, now I get it. Reeling it back in a little bit, we already got off on a tangent.
Well, of course, that's what I will do.
Yeah. You mentioned Minnesota. That's where you grew up, right? You're a Minnesota boy.
Yeah.
And you were born and raised in Minnesota?
Oh yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh yeah, dear. I can talk like Fargo. I can turn it on just like that, don't you know?
Yeah. And does it come out uncontrollably when you go home?
Yes.
If you spend any time there, it starts.
I just went home for the first time about a month ago. I went home for the first time in 18 years.
Wow.
Because I was married and my ex-wife had our time off planned.
Gotcha. Yeah, ex-wife.
Yes, the former bride.
Gotcha.
I'm working on the next one. I was out at clubs this weekend, hobnobbing with the chicks, and I'm looking forward to my next wife whenever I get that.
Yeah, that's a running thing in Peter's stream, is talking about how chicks dig the fish tanks and stuff. And
yeah, you talk to women about that.
Speaking of that, that's a great segue. What's the deal with the Subaru thing? You absolutely hate Subarus. You and Doug Gray, you go back and forth with Subarus.
I don't have anything against Subarus.
Okay.
It's the Subaru joke is is sort of a Doug thing that he started doing.
Okay.
So Siwi is really into. She usually comes up with zingers.
Yeah.
And so it's sort of like that's sort of the joke, the Subaru joke. Don't ask me why. I don't have anything against them. Okay. I've never owned one, but I understand they make great planners. And I told my boss just got one. And I said, in 2 years, I'll look great in your front yard. Make it into a planner. Your wife will love it.
Because I've always liked them myself, and I looked them up after listening to one of the streams, and actually they're as far as statistics go, they're one of the better made cars. They last longer than a lot of other vehicles. They're very sturdy, hardy cars. And if Doug Gray's in here right now, he's probably screaming and throwing stuff. But
he hasn't texted me.
So I never knew what the whole story, it's
just a joke.
Okay. I wasn't sure if somebody had bought one and it died really quick or anything. Okay, so a bunch of people came in. So I just want to reiterate, we don't look at the chat the whole first half hour. So everybody,
I'm not looking at it.
I'm letting those people know that. Because I don't want people to be disappointed that we're not saying hi and looking at the questions and stuff.
Hi to everybody.
There we go. And then the second half, we will talk to you guys in the chat. So just bear with us for another, 20 minutes or however long this goes. So you've had this job that moved you around quite a bit. What was that job?
I'm in advertising.
Oh, okay.
I hate talking about how I make a living because it's not illegal, but it's something that it's not that. Some people may think it's exciting. It's really not, it's kind of exciting, not that exciting, but it's what I do, and I try to use this as an identity to focus off of my work life.
Gotcha. I'm not a big advertising fan myself. I find it intrusive and irritating and annoying, and I do my best to not look at it any chance I get. So my apologies.
Well, no, everything is advertising. Everything is advertising.
Everything.
Yeah, it just is. Look at your cup.
Yeah. Gamer Sups.
Yeah, there you go. Look at my cup.
Even as it's the sweatsicle. Boo.
It's America's team.
Which America is that? There's different dimensions we're in?
It really is. Everybody loves Vikings.
Well, I saw Danikin's in here. Kenny's in here. He's a huge Vikings fan.
Everyone should be. It's like great. So my whole deal about work is I've worked in advertising. I've done, I like writing it and writing it well. It doesn't not make it intrusive. It makes it helpful. It's advertising helps, especially. I've worked with large and smaller businesses. Smaller businesses, they can't get off the ground if people don't know about them. Helping that happen for them is really important, and especially in these times of so many messages, helping them cut through with what they're doing is really an important deal.
And there is advertising that is informative, like you said, and those I do appreciate. I like when something's just informing me about a product and it's being truthful. But a lot of times you look at an ad or a commercial or something, you're like, what the hell does that have to do with State Farm?
Yeah.
Were those hamburgers? They were trying to sell hamburgers, or is that insurance?
Well, it's, insurance. Let's be honest with insurance. Tough to make that real exciting, everybody. You have to do something different. Hey, you're going to, you may croak, and what happens with your wife and kids?
Yeah.
It's so you better get life insurance. Yeah. Don't put it off because you will die. Okay, that's just not real attractive.
I just like information. I like information. I don't want, and so much of it is borderline um, untruthful. You know, if you've got to have a million little, anyways, let's not get too much into that.
Yeah. Well,
I don't want to.
like there's these things for the drugs. It could kill you.
Yeah.
They talk about the drug for about 10 seconds.
Yes.
Then the last 20 seconds of the TV spot is them talking about how this drug could kill you.
Yeah. It's always anal leakage too. Why does it have to be anal leakage for everything? Why does everything cause anal leakage?
I don't know, but it's obviously a heck of a deal there.
You'll feel better, but you'll have anal leakage.
Yes.
But that headache will be gone, or the pimple cream. Even pimple cream causes anal leakage.
And by the way, I know a lot of people have skin conditions, and I'm not joking about skin conditions. I know it's a big deal. I swear to you, half of the drug commercials on TV are for someone who has a skin condition. I don't know why that is, and I get it. Somebody has eczema or something like that. Ain't pleasant. I get that. I'm not, but how many commercials for eczema can you have?
Yeah. And you know what? My son-in-law is British, and he's here right now. And when we watch TV together, sometimes, like we'll watch football in the fall, and he pointed out to me, and I never really paid attention, but every single commercial was either insurance, medication, or food. Those three things was like, there was a few truck ones in there, but 99% of it were those three categories. He would say, here comes the insurance. And sure enough, that's an insurance commercial. Those three things are just advertised constantly.
Yeah.
And I never noticed it before because you're so used to it. You're so blinded by it because it's everywhere that,
it's having a cutting through message that's, that makes your product new, better, and different and authentic is a real big deal. And, there's a lot of, my problem with most of the advertising that I end up seeing seems like it was written by a 17-year-old who just took a creative writing class.
Oh, yeah.
If I hear 10 puns in a 30-second spot,
yeah,
I actually had one come across my desk like that from one of my coworkers a few years ago. And I went to the guy that was in charge of putting everything together. I said, I'm rewriting it. And I said, don't tell her. If she notices, then, blame it on me. Make me the bad guy, but we're not telling her. I'm rewriting it.
And it was that way. It had a whole bunch of puns in it, and was
God, it was just. And the woman thought she was. The woman thought she was Ernest Hemingway. I mean, it's.
Okay. Do you ever do anything with like focus groups and things like that to find out?
I have.
Have you?
Yeah.
On those types of things. I do a lot of that kind of stuff on the other side. I'm retired, so I do a lot of that stuff today.
Group thing, it's all about studies. I've been involved with studies. One of the companies I worked for, they spent money on a study and they came up with a conclusion. And I read the study, and my immediate supervisor, who would come in around the same time I did, he came in about the same time. He just said, what do you think of that study? And I said, you want me to just say what's on my mind? And he goes, yes. I said, I have no idea how they got the conclusions they got out of the study.
Gotcha. Yep.
And the greatest problem with focus groups and with studies and all this sort of stuff is that, do you want to know the truth, or you want to confirm your biases for whatever it is?
Yeah.
And my line is, if I go through one of those things, I not only do I want to know the truth, but I want to know what the path is.
Gotcha.
And if it doesn't give me a path, then I don't think it's that good.
Yeah.
There's a company out of New Jersey, Edison Research, and they do studies for all sorts of different industries. And
I think I've worked with them, actually. They sound familiar.
yeah, a guy named Larry Rosen is the guy in charge. And it's you read through it, and when they have done stuff that I've worked with, you can really see a path of what your customers and people that are borderline being regular customers of your product, what they want from you.
Gotcha. You have actual actionable items that you can
that you can sit there and do. And it's not that you should ever take their advice 100%. Sure. Because sometimes you go through and you read through and they'll make certain recommendations and you're just going, really? Makes no sense.
Yeah.
But I've read a couple of research things over different things in my career, and I've just finished reading them and I'm going, holy crap, that sucks.
To shift gears a little bit, we'll get away from the work stuff. You probably get tired of even thinking about it. Like you said, you do this to get away from it.
Yeah.
How long you been keeping fish, roughly? That's a question everybody always wants to know.
Let's see. I'm 50, and I've been keeping them on and off since the age of 4.
Wow.
There have been periods where I've not had aquariums, but it's like in my teenage college years, I was away, from college, young adult stuff. Then I got into more aquariums. I had a brief period. The ex-wife hated it. So
I was going to ask about that.
Yeah.
I was going to ask how she felt about it.
And probably one of the first things I did when I filed for divorce was buy aquariums.
That's funny. It's funny. Speaking of Peter's guppies, this tank right here has a bunch of your swordtails in them. And I have some swordtails outside. And then I also have a little 5-gallon that's got some of your swordtails in it that I crossed with the blue metal endlers or blue metal metalheads. Guppies.
Nice.
So they still have the swordtail, but they've just got some different coloration. I just wanted to see what would happen.
Yeah. I'm working on, I had a cross that I actually started accidentally.
Nice.
and it's worked out really well.
Yeah.
So I am now getting a mostly red swordtail.
Ooh.
And I'm calling them California Reds. And I got a pair of guppies. I bought some super red plecos from somebody, and he sent me a pair of guppies. He just said, "Hey, do you have room? I'm going to gift you." I said, "Good."
Nice.
So he sent me a pair of guppies, and the female croaked immediately. She just didn't travel well.
Gotcha.
Nobody's fault. It's just the way it is.
Yeah.
And so I'm going, well, I'm not going to let this poor male guppy sit around for 10 months or a year and a half alone. So I dropped in a couple of swordtail females with him. Well, I am like on generation 6 of this, working on trying to get swordtails out of this. Nada. Nothing.
Mm-hmm.
But I've gotten some kind of cool, and I don't have them ready for sale yet. I got 2 varieties. And all of a sudden, after generation 4, I started getting golds.
Ooh.
Complete golds. I put gray body females in there, 2 of them. And I put in it was an Asian strain, half gold red cobra. So it was gold cobra up top, red tail. And I'm getting some interesting males on the red side, but the gold thing is pretty good. So I sent up 2 pairs of those, and let's see what I get.
Do you have videos of those out there yet?
Not yet, mainly because I've just been working on them.
Okay.
But I will. I will put them up. I don't want to sit there and put something up before I before I really know what's going on with them.
Gotcha. Yeah. It's just interesting to see. If in my mind, it's interesting to see, where you're at in it. Say, just like what you just told us, that kind of video where here's what I started with, here's where we're at now, and here's
here's the deal: is that it's not Mendel genetics. So it of what I was getting originally, was just it was not what you think you would have gotten from the cross.
Gotcha.
And I have just allowed sibling breeding over and over again. And all of a sudden I started getting more, stuff that I think is more.
Yeah.
I think there's more to it. So I'll do a video on both of them. And I'm probably pretty close to it, actually.
I'm interested. I love to watch those types of things. And again, I mentioned Doug Gray earlier.
Yeah.
For anybody that isn't familiar with Doug Gray, he's very, very intelligent about guppies. I probably other things as well too, but guppies, he knows his stuff. He's got some amazing videos about guppies. Really knows his stuff, and he has just some beautiful ones that he's got. Now, why was I talking about Doug Gray?
You're talking about it because he does crosses. And he plays around doing crosses. He does a lot of videos with crosses.
The videos, that's what it was.
He's trying to do. He has like 95 tanks, and so occasionally he'll just sit there and he'll go, "Okay, I've got some males here that aren't quite good enough for me to sell. If I sold them to somebody, I would feel terrible because they're not perfect."
Yeah.
But they're close. So, and I have a lot of extra females of this strain. What happens? We let them get together.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's just crazy. Other times you're just going, wow. And what I have learned from him, and for those who who love the beauty of dragon guppies, the maturation progress in there is insanely long. The males will not really show their full coloration until they're like 6-7 months old.
Wow.
Where generally you can pick out what you want with a male guppy.
Yeah.
At 3.
Yeah.
So you almost have to breed the older generation male to the younger females, because you don't want females not to be hit. That means seminated, mated. You don't want to. There are some strains of guppies that if you leave the female guppy as a virgin, you separate the genders, have a female only type of thing. There are some strains where those females will not get pregnant.
Gotcha.
So you really, for most strains, you want to make sure if you have separated and you've done your due diligence, pick out the females you want to use, but you better make that decision, 3 to 4 months of age. And again, depends on the strain. Some strains you can go longer with that, but I never wait longer than that.
Gotcha. I haven't, dug into it that much. I'm nowhere where you guys are at. I call a few that I think have either something weird with their tail or the colors are off. That's the extent of it. That's all I do is I call a few, and that's.
Yeah. Well, the interesting thing is about guppies. In fact, I was having this because I was having an issue with one of my swordtail tanks. And I realized something. I had not put in new males in a while. And all of a sudden, I had a bunch of fry with bent spines. Oh. So I just swapped out males and, with another tank. And thus, no more bent spines.
That was something I heard too. Susan, SLC Aquatics, mentioned that even in the IFGA guide, it talks about guppies needing something like 12 hours of light a day to limit the bent spines. Is that something you find? Do you have lights on your tanks? She even has that in the handbook.
I have. I'll tell you what, IFGA stuff. is that most of it is really good. There may be people that go through. I follow IFGA stuff for most of the stuff. I am a member, and I, is that, I turned on my tanks today at noon. And when I'm done here, after we're done in a half hour or so, I'll turn them off.
Gotcha.
I'll feed my baby brine shrimp. I'll turn them off. Are they on for 12 hours a day? No. In fact, almost never are.
Gotcha. Yeah, mine either. Mine are not. And I just thought that was weird, but she showed us where it said it.
Oh, yeah. There's different things. And again, it's just... it's like the thing you can read all sorts of information. And again, what works for me may not necessarily work for you. What I can say is this. It's like, I'll make a sports analogy. Michael Jordan is widely considered to be the best basketball player of all time. And they looked at all the acrobatic stuff he could do and all the different things. But if you actually break down his game, he's fundamentally probably one of the best players who ever played in the NBA. Because, he played unbelievable defense. The way that he passed the ball, the way that everything was based in, the fundamentals. Well, the fundamentals of fish keeping, really important. Water changes, multiple feedings a day, all this sort of stuff is really good.
Yeah.
But, it's, someone says, hey, I read a lot of books, so I know a lot about whatever subject.
Yeah.
Guess what?
Yeah.
You don't.
Yeah.
You know the practical basic knowledge. You don't know what happens when all of a sudden you have an aquarium go sideways on you.
Yeah.
And let me tell you.
Experience.
I have had aquariums go sideways on me, and you're just going, what? I'm changing the water. Every other tank is going well. I've had occasionally where I'll have a tank become sick on me, and I'm going, well, how? All the other tanks look great. Everything is happy. And you go through it and you're going, this makes no sense.
Yeah.
You're sitting there going, okay, did this happen or that happen? Well, if you're keeping all of your tanks exactly the same way, it should be, and it's all the same type of stock, the same type of quality, the same type of stuff. And all of a sudden you've been keeping those tanks up and running just for a few months, and everything's cool, and all of a sudden sideways. It happens.
It does. Have you ever had a cursed tank?
Yes. And here's what I did. I had one where I had no idea. I was doing everything the same. And I just realized I tried everything, and I solved the problem when I threw out the sponge filter and put a new one in. And there was no difference in how I was treating the sponge filters between aquariums. There was no difference.
Something was in that one.
Something was in that one. Whatever was going on, it's nothing. None of the treatments worked on it.
Yeah. Just
and I had
something
more
about
tanks.
it.
Yeah, and I think that happens. And I think that's one of the frustrating things for fish keepers, because all of a sudden you're sitting there saying, hey, I'm doing everything right. Or maybe I could do more water in my water changes. Maybe I'm not doing them as much as I should. That's, and, you can ask yourself that stuff over and over again, but sometimes things just aren't working well.
Gotcha. It just happens. And there's so many variables there that, you know, and again, like you said, things that work great for you might not work for me, vice versa. There's so many different things that go into it. So.
I like to think that I try to do all the fundamentals right. But I have added my own variables to what I do that I hope are still based in the fundamentals of fish keeping, but basically more with, okay, I have this knowledge.
Yeah.
Have this stuff. I went to a fish store when I was in Minnesota.
A couple of them, right?
Yeah, a couple of them. I went and saw our buddy King Lee, and I went to another one. And the other one I went to, and now I can't remember the name off the top of my head, they had nothing but gravel filters. Yeah. And let me just tell you something, with the underground filter, every tank looked great. Every tank looked fantastic. I have never seen neon guppies. Normally you go into a fish store and you're going, oh, the neons, they're gorgeous, but they don't look good usually, or you'll see a few that don't look great in the tank. Everyone looked perfect. I went through, this guy probably had 70, 80 tanks in there. I found 2 fish in 70 some tanks that didn't look great.
Gotcha.
And that's not the Molly tank. The Molly tank looked fantastic.
I did watch that one. I remember watching that. Yeah, I watched the other one too there with Twin City Guppies. Yeah.
Yeah. He's a good
cool
guy.
It's cool that he's got an actual store now instead of just the online stuff. I've been watching his stuff. I don't remember who turned me on to him originally, but he doesn't do a ton of videos, but he does some informational stuff like drilling the tanks and all that kind of stuff. He shows you some good things. Dryer's done.
Yeah, I took a shower, and so I figured I better wash the towels.
Well, let's shift gears a little bit, and then we'll open it up to the chat. Do you have any other hobbies that you get into, or is fish keeping like your main? I
like
fish keeping is your main thing.
Yeah, I like music. I just lost my dog. I'm getting a new dog.
Have you gone and looked at any yet? Any dogs?
Oh yeah. I have a deposit down. It'll be a female dog. She will arrive around at the end of the year.
What are you getting? Oh, that was in your Sunday live or the last live stream you talked about that.
Yeah. I'm getting a Brittany.
Oh, okay.
That's what I had as a child. My dad had them, and they're great. And so I'm getting a female Brittany.
That was sad about Bolo. And how old was Bolo? He was 17?
Just about 14.
16? Oh, 14. Okay. I knew he was up there. And you said he was going downhill. He was deaf and he was having all kinds of issues.
He was going blind. He was.
Yeah, it's tough though. It's always hard. We're definitely a dog family here. We've got 3, and we always have dogs. We've always had dogs.
Yeah,
our house is never dog free ever. So music, anything that comes even close to fish keeping, other than fish keeping. Is there anything that comes close to fish keeping as a hobby? Anything else that you're really passionate about?
I'm not really at the moment. I have a wide variety of interests. I like music. I like literature. I like, I appreciate art. I appreciate all these different things. But, fish keeping is sort of where I occupy my mind.
Gotcha. Okay, so we're actually let's see, it's 10 after 7. So let's jump into the chat. And again, everybody, if you're not if first time you've been here, that's by design. We don't look at the chat the first part. But if you've got questions, now's the time to jump in with those. And appreciate every one of you coming in. Let's see. I see all the usual suspects. I'm just doing a quick. Hey, Chad Krotz. We haven't seen you in a while. It's good to see you. I don't want to just pick out people like I just did, but I just wanted to see if there's anybody I haven't seen before or haven't seen in a long time, like Chad. And if you've got questions, though, for Peter, doesn't have to be fish related. If you want to know more about his life or favorite movie or whatever, now's the time. Weldon Tanks, come in and give support. On my way to get more moving boxes. Trevor's moving to Texas. So
yeah, there you go.
Big
Love Texas.
There. All right. I went pretty far up there. So let's see. Let's see. Chewy wanted to know what strain do they purposely breed in a spinal or bent spine in? I'm not sure. I don't know what you mean by that, Chewy, as far as who purposely bred.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Not sure what you mean. Stephen would like to know, do you keep any mutt guppies? Why or why not?
I have, the couple of crosses I'm doing, but no, I don't keep mutt guppies. And I'll tell you why, is that for me personally, breeding to a certain conclusion is the most important thing. If you put a bunch of different guppies together, you may eventually get something that you think is cool, but then to get it to stay consistent, you have to begin a process of inbreeding. You have to pick out siblings. It's a real process to do it. And, it's just, for me, it's just not, I'm not interested in putting random guppies together and see what happens.
Gotcha. It's the destination, not the trip with those.
Correct.
S wants to know, why do clubs of Missouri let Peter in when he's clearly underage?
That's correct. They don't like me, but they allow me
in. Ricky from R&B Animals would like to know what your favorite movie is.
Favorite movie? Favorite movie that I have seen in the last. I really liked The Irishman. It was really long. I generally am not a fan of the real long movies.
Yeah,
but that was good. I love Godfather 1 and 2, Harold and Maude, which is a black comedy from the 70s. Yep. I appreciated. I appreciate Star Wars and Star Trek. I like them both. I've watched a lot of the quote unquote superhero movies. Some of them, I think Captain America: Winter Soldier was the best of those, in my opinion.
My daughter's right there with you. She loves that one. Yep. Let's see. Chewy said there's a strain developed by a breeder by the name of Felix Shattuck that wrote several books that D. Gray has a strain, is known as the see-through guppy, and is used designer on YouTube.
Yeah, I've seen those with the see-through pingus, where you can, especially with the females, you can see all the babies and all that sort of stuff. It's those are kind of neat to see.
I bet there's something to learn there too by just looking at them, studying them. Have you ever done any? Besides guppies, what other kind of fish do you like to keep?
Let's see. I have shrimp. I have cories. I have super red plecos. In the past, I have kept some African cichlids. I've kept Oscars, convicts. Just a wide variety of
gotcha.
A wide variety of different fish, and I go through periods where I really want to do it. I would love to do bettas. The problem is I could see myself having 100 jars throughout the house, and I've kept myself from doing that.
Gotcha. And are guppies your favorite?
Yeah, I like them mainly because it's easy to go through. I appreciate genetics. I appreciate and I think they're an easy fish to study because they reproduce relatively quickly. That's important.
I was laughing because Mr. Kaler just came in, or he might have been in here, but he just posted, and he wants to know about any outstanding warrants and your previous incarnations. I think he meant to say incarcerations.
Incarcerations. But you know what? I have yet to do any hard time. I haven't been to the joint. I haven't done enough to go to a real prison. So there you go.
I like that he said previous incarnations instead of, probably autocorrect hit him up there with previous incarnations. So, like you've been, maybe you were Satan at one point. I don't know.
Yeah, it's, I've not done hard time. I haven't even spent overnight in jail. I feel like I'm missing out on that. I'm pretty boring, actually.
Yeah, it's not fun. It's not fun, especially when they put you in general pop. Anyways, speeding tickets. That's all. That's all it was. It was nothing violent or anything. I didn't do anything real bad. Let's see. Driving. I'm not seeing any other questions. Oh, and Chewy said Apingus are glass body. The whole see-through guppy is see-through, no coloration at all, and using human back research. Okay, yeah. Scientific research papers on ResearchGate. All right. Any other questions for, why? So you already told us. I was wondering about the 2 B's in Mobb, but that's because it's a
play on Mobb Deep. So
okay,
yeah,
well,
so 2 B's and Mobb. So 2 B's, 2 P's, Mobb Guppy.
See, because I looked up. This is like the first time I ever did any research on anything. I wanted to find out if MOBB was a standard, and it seems like it is. It's money over something, and the word female dogs.
Yes,
money over something. So I was wondering,
and that's exactly what I did.
Yeah. Let's see. Ricky would like to know if you like any comic books or anything. Do you read those, or have you ever gotten into?
You know what? Books? I haven't. And when I was a kid, is that like geek culture was not a part of the group I ran with.
Gotcha.
In fact, it was considered. It was actually looked down upon.
Yeah.
And which is, I don't know why, but it was just the group of people that I grew up with. I liked comic books when I saw them when I was a kid, but I was never a collector.
Gotcha. And back then it was looked down on more than it is today. It's a lot more accepted today than it was. And people can geek out about anything. That it's to be a geek is really just to be very passionate about a hobby. Sure. That's really what being a geek is. And it's definitely a lot more acceptable than it used to be. Deborah would like to know what kind of food you use for your guppies.
I feed a variety of stuff. It all starts, though, with live baby brine shrimp. Yeah. In fact, when we're done today, they will get their daily feeding. I do it once a day. There are some people that do it twice a day, or they do stuff like that. I feed 3 to 5 times a day, one big feeding, which is the baby brine shrimp. I get a variety of flake foods I mix together. I get the Doug Gray high protein food. I use that. So it's just, I have a variety of stuff. I do some frozen foods. I have frozen cyclops and Daphnia that I mix together. Mm-hmm. And I give that to the fish about 2-3 times a week. And I usually make that a little bit bigger feeding, and I defrost it into a specimen thing with some treated water and allow it to set up, mix it up, and send it on its way.
I really need to get into more of those. I have the freeze dried brine shrimp. I do baby brine shrimp. I only do it like once every other day. But I wanted to get into some other. I was thinking about grindle worms. I need to get some other live.
Yeah, I want to do the grindle worms. I tried doing the micro worms, the banana worms.
Yeah.
And the problem is the culture smells like death. And hey, I'm a single guy. If I get a woman over to the house, I don't want the house smelling like death. Once I've suckered her into marriage, then death all day.
Yeah. She doesn't know what she's into. Bob wants to know gambling. Horses? Horses you're into.
I
right?
play the ponies.
Yeah.
I play the ponies a little bit. Not much of I live really close to Native American casinos. There's one 5 minutes away from work. And I'll go there every once in a while, but not very often. It's not my deal.
Yeah. Same here. We have one not too far away. it's less than a half an hour, and I went there once for the buffet. Just don't care to gamble. It's just not who I am at all.
I don't mind going and doing it. It's just, it's like if all of a sudden a bunch of people are going, sure, I'm in.
Yeah.
But
Socially.
but I'm not, I'm not one of these, I'll play the ponies. I know people who love going gambling and they do it every week or they do it every other week, whatever. It's just not my deal.
Yeah. It's their hobby even.
Yeah.
Let's see. Chewy would like to know if you actually know how to ride a horse.
Yeah.
Yeah. You've been on horses?
Yeah.
When was the last time?
Probably about 3-4 years ago.
Yeah. It's been quite a while for us. We don't live too far from the Adirondacks, which is a beautiful. It's the largest park in the United States. Actually, it's bigger than Yellowstone. It's bigger than a bunch of the big national parks put together. It's just a massive park, and there's a lot of really cool stuff to do up there, camping and things. And we go horseback riding up there sometimes. Mike would like to know how your alien affliction is coming.
It's good. It's it's before you know it, somebody popping out of my tummy going Wah!
and for people who don't know that there's quite a few running jokes on Peter's streams on all of them, and they're always a lot of fun. It's Chattanooga Ed said something I thought was really cool. He said that it reminded him of a barbershop.
Yeah.
Because you just go in there, you're just hanging out, you're talking about all kinds of stuff.
I usually come up with something. People start in on stuff.
Yeah. And you go wherever it takes you.
Yeah, I go wherever. It's, again, when I do these live streams, it's never about me.
Yeah.
It's about, having fun, the conversation. We all have a central thing that we all love fish. Some want to know more. Some people just like being around fellow fish geeks like themselves.
Yeah.
And they feel like they want to interact where, people are not judged based on their fish love. And we don't judge. Talk to us about fish.
Yeah. Yeah. Chewy says, what about the world famous D-grade guppy food?
Yeah, it's good. I feed it at least once a day. Sometimes I'll do it twice a day. I very, very rarely will miss a day with it. I'm usually always doing it.
And does Doug sell that any place, or is it more of you got to contact him?
Sometimes he has it on eBay, but mainly you have to contact him.
It's probably smaller batches of it.
Yeah, it's a smaller batch type of thing. He doesn't sell big amounts of it. So I always have, one or two things here, jars of it here. And I feed it, at least that once a day. And it just, again, my deal is with fish food. Here's why I go between fish foods. And is that the fish, our job when you keep fish is trying to give them as much of a variety of food items that they would get in the wild. And that's the problem that most people don't get. They'll get the one fish food. They'll feed that one fish food over and over again. It's not a bad fish food.
No.
It's just...
doesn't have everything.
It's just there are some fish foods that may have a different type of enzyme in it. And it's just... you go through and rotate through. The big thing about baby brine shrimp is that it's real easy to digest. When I ship fish out, the last meal they get the day before I pack them up is baby brine shrimp. And I do it for a couple of reasons, is that it digests so easily and so quickly that when the fish get in the bag, they are not in a place where they're going to be.
Yeah. Polluting.
They won't be pooping too much.
Yeah. I actually mix a lot of different foods together in a spice shaker. I just throw all kinds of stuff in there. Like the freeze-dried brine shrimp and different flake foods and everything. It's the spirulina flakes. I put it all into one thing, and that's my daily feeding thing. It's just got all these
I
different
do the
things in there.
same thing. I have, I have for the guppies right now. I'm mixing. I got some from American brine shrimp, and so I've got like silk worm flake, earthworm flake.
Oh wow, I haven't seen
Brine
any of
shrimp
those.
flake,
Yeah.
and plankton gold.
And where you get those from?
I get those from American brine shrimp, but I've got them from like Ken's Fish.
That's the
I've
one
got
I need to do. They do a lot of frozen stuff. They ship, and I don't have a place around me. I have to actually drive a good distance to get anything fish related. So it would be handy to be able to just buy a case of bloodworms or something.
yeah.
And I know Ken's Fish does that.
Yeah, the bloodworms, I will occasionally get bloodworms, but I always make sure I mix it in with stuff because baby guppies are not touching it.
Yeah.
And it's an adult thing, which is great.
Yeah.
But the Cyclops and the Daphnia, the babies can eat and the adults can eat.
Have you ever done the live Daphnia cultures?
No.
I did once, not that long ago, and I killed it off in a month. I sucked at it, so I need to teach myself how to do it better. But I do. I got the Hikari freeze dried Daphnia, and that was pretty good. Terry says I want to say something smart, but I don't have the ability, so I'll just say hi to Rico and Mobb.
Hey, how are you doing? That's fine. This is no judgment zone in my world.
I'm the same way. That's the big thing. Is
I'm a big enough dope that please.
Well, we're coming up on the hour mark. Oh, there we go. Wait, there was another one too. RB would like to know, what is Peter's dream vacation?
I would love to go to. Japan.
Oh, yeah.
I would love to do Alaska. I would love to do. I would love to go through Europe. I'd love to go to Israel.
You just want to travel. You don't have one specific place.
I've traveled. I've been to Canada several times. I've been to Mexico like 35, 40 times.
Yeah. Your ex-wife was
it was Mexican.
Was she a Mexican national then? She was born in Mexico?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so she so I've spent a lot of time. My Spanish is terrible. But I can I pretty much understand the deal. There was I was out walking yesterday, some construction workers were out there listening to banda music. And so I look at them, música en la banda. And they went,
take it back.
Yeah, and they go, banda?
I have so I worked at a place. I was a produce guy years and years and years ago, and we had a regular who was insane. I'm not joking. She was crazy. Yeah. And one day she called me.
Produce on the phone. Will bring it in. Yeah.
yeah. It's a magnet for crazy people. One day she called me on the phone and asked me about a price, and she said somebody else had them cheaper, and I said, well, if I were you, I would go there. I don't manage the prices. They tell us what price to put on, and I put it on there. But she came in and she was really rude. She was just like screaming at me on the phone and stuff. And she came in and I recognized her voice. She asked me a question, and I said, I answered a question. I said, by the way, was that you on the phone a little bit ago? And she, no, it wasn't me, And then she was like, I started to walk away, and she goes, but what if it was? And she like started yelling. And there was another Hispanic couple that walked by, and she started speaking to them in Spanish, and she called me all kinds of names. And I knew what she was saying.
Yeah.
So as soon as they walked away, I had my cart filled with all this produce and stuff. I walked by her and I looked at her right in the face and I said, F you, and some other choice words. And I just kept walking, and she started screaming, and the manager came back. She was so loud. The manager came back and he was like, what's happening? What's happening? And she said, oh, he called me all these names. And I looked at the guy, I said, Nico, I didn't do that. I didn't call her anything. And, he calmed her down, and she left and stuff. And then he came back and goes, man. And I go, hey, Nico, I called her those names. I was like, no, Rick, you can't do that. I was like, and I told him the whole story, and he goes, well, she's banned. Then she's banned from the store. So
Yeah.
but don't just assume that people don't speak the language. People
Or
will
assume that
surprise you.
people do speak the language.
Oh, you that too. Yeah. Yeah. If they're just smiling and nodding a lot, they might not.
Yeah.
Let's see. And we are closing in. Are you pressed for time? I know you got to get into one of your things.
I've got
Okay.
I would love to stay, but I get to do a little water change here.
Let's wrap it up with these last two. Your dream date. Mike said, "What is Peter's dream date other than another individual?"
Here's what I generally have dated in my life: women who are smarter than me, better looking than I deserve, women that are of taste and glamour, who for whatever reason find me appealing.
Nice. I think if I was single, I would go for somebody with very nimble and a Santa Claus fetish. I think that would be my perfect.
Yeah. Both of those, I think, I went out this weekend a little bit, and it was rough. I was not seeing the type of gals I like to associate with.
I can't even imagine now. I've been married so long. I couldn't even imagine. I'm sure I have no game whatsoever. And I would be like, hey, you're nice, just it'd be so awkward. And all right. Last question is from Chewy. Who's your favorite musician and why?
Favorite musician and why?
Terry.
Yeah, if I'm going to talk about somebody who, I go through different things. I've been listening to a lot of punk rock lately.
Good stuff.
And I go through a metal fetish. I'll go through a rap fetish. I'll go through a number of different things. Obviously, I think it's probably Prince.
Why? Obviously.
26 instruments, nimble musician. He could do any. He would make these albums with him doing every part.
Yeah, he was an amazing artist, definitely.
And so it's I appreciate people who have that. And he wasn't just okay on some of the other instruments.
Yeah,
he was great.
Yeah. On just about everything. I mean, it was amazing how many different things he could play.
So
little guy.
Yeah. By the way, my favorite quote of him, someone asked him, was it because he was short that he wore high heels?
Yeah.
And he goes, no, He goes, I wear high heels because the ladies love them.
Yeah. So you're buying yourself some heels?
Yeah, I think I'll do that, but I got to get them, custom made like Prince.
Yeah, I could see you all, with like a purple, like a pimp hat, and a purple suit, and
they don't make a lot of size 24 stilettos these days. You gotta get them custom done. Man, that may be out of my income bracket.
I think that's a good place to leave it with the picture of Peter in stilettos in people's minds. Thanks for hanging out with us. You got anything coming up that you want to tell people?
No, it's just we'll just be here on Saturday. We'll just go through, and again, I'll tell you what's going on in the hobby, and you try to distract me, and you will succeed, and life is good.
Yeah. Again, people, go check it out. It's always fun. His channel's been put in there quite a bit. Lori Monster Fish Gill also put in the American Brine Shrimp website, and I saw some other ones as well. So
excellent. Well, thank you guys very much.
And Peter, thanks so much for being here. I knew this was going to be a lot of fun. That's it.
I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Everybody, take care. Next Tuesday we have Stephen P. 2003 will be our guest. So that's going to be a lot of fun too. That guy's got a lot of talent. He makes some amazing videos. So it's going to be fun to talk to him. All right, everybody, take care, and we'll see you on the next.